Hideo Kojima. When he was working, if you guys don't know his story as a developer, when he was making Metal Gear Solid 5, I mean, and there's a bunch of other things previous before that, when he was working with Konami. When he was making Metal Gear Solid 5 with Konami, Japan has this thing in the workforce and their work culture that they'll separate an individual and just isolate them from like their other team. So they'll isolate them, make them feel like they're not worthy or important. And Kojima did that shit. Kojima did that shit a lot. And he talked about it in the interview. Like, yeah, they put me in a room, isolated from other people, while making Metal Gear Solid 5. And I will say that Metal Gear Solid 5 is so good. But the thing about it is that Konami fucking cut like some of it out or some shit, or like they couldn't finish it, so we didn't really get a full game for it. Like, it's still a good game, like it's still somewhat of a full game, but it's not full like to what Kojima wanted. And then after that, Kojima just left, and what he did, he created his own company, Kojima Studios, or if I remember correctly, and created Death Stranding. Fantastic game. It's not for everyone. I'm not gonna lie about it. It's not for everyone. It's not everyone's cup of tea. But I played it and it was fantastic. I had such a great time with it. But that's not the point. I played through that whole game and I thought about, like, man, Kojima went from working with a company, doing all this shit, getting isolated, people telling him like he should kill himself, stop what he's doing, give up on life, give up on this, blah blah blah. You know, the same tiring, broken record shit. Again, Japanese culture is very different from American culture when it comes to the workforce and shit. Yeah. Point being, they told him all that shit, and he could have listened. He could have done, you know, the breading. He could have done the giving up. You know, been a very sad old man and like, man, back in the glory days, wow, we had it all, but I've been mistreated. But you know what he did? Again, I don't know Hideo Kojima as a person. I don't know him on a friend level or any of that. I don't know him deeper level. All I know is from what he talked about in interviews, what he spoke about during his time being a game developer throughout those years, and all that shit. And I read a lot of tweets by him. I'm not saying like I'm the biggest fanboy and shit, but like I really love his work because I relate to it. I relate to it very much. Like in spoilers in Metal Gear Solid 3, when you're facing boss, or the Joy, that whole fight, her whole speech about patriotism and, you know, being an individual, being a human being. What does it mean to be a human? What does it mean to serve? What does it mean to like even though you won't get recognition for anything, why do we still do things and shit? And you know what Kojima put in his games, like meanings behind, you know, life, being a human, like being alive, being a human. I really enjoy that. Same with Yoko Taro, when he made Drakengard series and the Nier series. Even though I haven't played any of the Drakengard series or Nier 1 or Replicant, even though I have Replicant, I beat Nier Automata 2B story, but not 9S. I'm finishing up. I'm like halfway. Anyway, point being, even with all that, I love all those meaningful games. And then Kojima, when he got done with Metal Gear Solid 5, made his own studio, Kojima Studios. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. I know I'm going to get it wrong. Made his own studio, made Death Stranding, succeeded, took like 4 years to make that game. It's fucking fantastic. And like the message he went through making that game, like the meaning behind that game, connection, helping each other, even if the world is complete shit, it is completely broken, doesn't look like it can be fixed. All it takes is one person to fix something. All it takes is one person to connect with people, and then, you know, building up from the ground up, building something new, and then some other shit, you know, continuing to live. I know there's more to Death Stranding, don't get me wrong, I understand that. point being I'm trying to make is that even though Kojima went through all that shit, even though Kojima went through all that creative shit from Konami, he still continued to push himself and his team that he works with to make a game in his vision, entirely his vision. And now he's making Death Stranding 2. And I see his post every fucking day with his assistant, Aoki. I think that's her name. Forgive me if I'm wrong. She's always posting pictures of Kojima, and Kojima is always sitting, watching movies, giving reviews about movies, listening to music, not being told what to do, and shit. He's just living creatively, and I love that. I love that about Kojima. He is just doing what he wants to do with a team in his dream, like we're doing his dream shit, and just making games. At like fucking 70, like he's an old dude. He's a very old dude, but not like, he doesn't look like it. He feels it, but he doesn't look like it. But in his head, in his mind, fucking cosmic creative thinking and direction and shit. Again, I don't know him at a personal level. I do not, or don't know how he is when he works, but what he has done and still doing to this day, he hasn't given up. He's still making games with messages and Easter eggs and shit. And I found that so fucking cool, so inspiring. And you know, some people may find that cliche, but it's true how I see it. It's very true how I see it. And then when he made Peace Walker, I think he made Peace Walker, I'm pretty sure he did, for the PSP and PS3 and shit, when they emulated, ported, whatever. He talks about, like, in his tweets, he talked about how, like, oh yeah, he talks about the meaning behind his games and, like, the characters and, like, why he did this and shit. And then he tweeted about Peacemaker and Metal Gear Solid Peacemaker and fucking why did he make that game. And he just pretty much told him, like, yeah, like, even though you're trying to strive for peace, it's very hard to be in the middle, like trying to keep peace aligned, trying to keep peace, because it's so difficult. Like, there's more meaning towards it and shit, but like, I find that very, like, damn, that is so fucking cool, dude. That is so fucking cool, man. And I know there's more meaning behind it, and same with Metal Gear Solid 2. Metal Gear Solid 2, Jesus Christ, that ending fucked me up, dude. God damn. Oh man, and like, in the end of Metal Gear Solid 2 and Metal Gear Solid 1, like Metal Gear Solid 2 specifically, Raiden and Snake, quotation Snake, he was telling Raiden, like, what are you going to do with your life now? Like, to simplify, like, it's your life. What are you going to do? And I thought about that so much. Like, who are you as a person? Like, and I thought about that a lot. Because, you know, a lot of us are thinking about ourselves. Like, who we are, what do we want to do? Do we want a purpose? Do we need a purpose to live? And shit, etc., etc. And that's what I think about a lot. Like, again, like, when you turn 18, the U.S. considers you an adult, no matter what. You may look like an adult by age and shit, not look, but by U.S. standards, because since you're 18, but life's experience standards, you're still a kid. Like, even I still think I'm a kid, experience-wise, because I only lived like a couple years. I'm still young, but like, I still don't know shit. I'm still scared of things. I'm still learning. I'm still fucking, like, trying to live and shit. But like, going back to Kojima, I just, like, he did something about it. Yeah, he could have, like, fucking failed in Death Stranding, but like, he made a game, he made his vision, he did what he wanted, and I find that so fucking cool, dude. I just really, really do. Taking charge of your life. And then I bring it back to me, like, why can't I do that? I need to make that step. Why am I being such a little bitch about it? That's a bigger question. Why am I being such a bitch about it? Why can't I take that step? Like, I could be taking that step, but all I'm doing is just rambling about it instead of doing nothing. So, yeah. I know I went on. I know we be in Dead Space 2, but yeah, some things I think about a lot. Like I really think about these things, and it annoys me a lot. And I want to do better. I want to do better. I have to do better because if I don't, then I'm just gonna get really old, and it's gonna haunt me for the rest of my life, and I'm not gonna be young forever. That's what's scaring me, because I don't know, man. I want to be at peace but happy, if that makes sense. It's mostly peace though, but also have fun while I still have time. But yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. Anyway.